everybody, what is up? You are here at the drop again. We're so glad that you made it. I'm Pastor Karina, and I have one of my guys here, Raul Rivera.
What is going on, everybody? I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, we have a special, very special guest with us today. I have known Raul for a really long time. Years and years ago, I was the youth pastor here at the church.
Yeah.
And I didn't have really the honor to be his youth pastor, right?
Right.
When did you join?
Let's be honest. I was kind of like a little jerk back then. I wouldn't give you the time of day, and it's okay.
It's okay. We still went for you.
Right,
Raul.
because
we didn't give up on you.
I mean, my brother and my sister came, and I would come, and I'm like,
You just weren't into it yet.
I wasn't,
okay.
and it's okay.
Yeah,
but I mean,
okay.
like, you were still there, though.
Yeah. No, I was there, and I don't know. I'm just so honored that you're here with me today, because he's been here, part of our church family at Oasis for years and years, and now he is a part of some of our leadership teams here at the church. He helps really heavily with our youth ministry, with our kids ministry, and so he just has so much. Also, I feel so much just truth and honesty and fresh perspective on things, and so I'm just super excited to chat with you today.
I'm excited too. Well, a lot of that comes from you.
Aw,
so
thank you.
It's not just all by myself. You're surrounded by great people.
Hey, it never is, It never is. And honestly, like, that's kind of what we're talking about a little bit today with this story in the Bible about this exchange between Jesus and this man who was paralyzed.
Yeah.
And so today we're kind of talking a lot about the mercy that Jesus has for us. And I don't know about you, but I can definitely say that I've definitely experienced God's mercy in my life.
For sure.
And it's made a really big difference, I think, personally, on how I see myself and how it also transformed me to see other people.
Right.
Because a lot of times I'm like, well, if God shows me mercy, I need to show other people mercy too. Like, even when I'm not feeling like I want to.
Right. No, for sure. I totally agree with that, because it's like, I feel like sometimes God can be like, man, you really don't deserve that mercy, but here I am giving it to you. So it's like, if I receive it, so can the next person.
Yeah, no, and that is so accurate and so true. So I want us to get a little personal, if we don't mind. I know you don't mind. I know you don't mind anymore.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you, and we're both going to kind of share, have you ever experienced a time when you received mercy from someone that you maybe didn't deserve it, or you weren't expecting it? Yes or no, which I'm sure the answer is yes.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Man, okay, so I had to think really long and hard about this one, but immediately it came to mind. We were playing soccer.
Okay.
Back then, I played soccer. I love soccer. And I was at a game, and I remember it was a 50-50 ball.
Okay. What's that?
So
that
meant like
me who don't know everything about soccer. My kids play soccer, and sometimes I tell Serge, I'm like, oh, what just happened? And like, he's explained the offsides thing to me like so many times, and I still don't really get it. So anyways, 50-50.
Right. 50-50 ball means like, it's like there's a ball, and it's like halfway between two players.
Okay.
And like, you're both going for the ball.
Okay.
And it's like, at that point, you're instructed, like, a lot in soccer is a lot about like knowing your body and how strong you are.
Okay.
And so when there's a 50-50 ball, you're supposed to go with all your strength, because if you let up at any moment, the strength of the other player can overtake your strength.
Okay.
And so I was taught, like, man, you better go 50. If you're going to go for a 50-50 ball,
go all the way.
Go 100%
on the 50-50.
Right. Go
got it.
100% on the 50-50, because if not, you're going to go to zero. So I went full force.
Okay.
And the other player on the other team didn't.
Okay.
And so my strength, like, overpowered his leg, and it broke his leg.
Oh my gosh. You little Raul. I mean, that in the nicest way.
I was so, like, taken back, because all I heard was he was screaming. He was screaming, like, out of agony, because like, it was so much pain, and I was just like,
because you went and broke his leg.
I just broke this kid's leg. And so for the
Maybe
longest,
his coach didn't give him the same message of go 100%
right.
on the
And
50-50.
so like immediately I was just like,
no.
oh my gosh, like I like this is not okay.
Aww.
And so like his parents ran on the field, and I was just like, I don't.
The ambulance
Right?
came
No,
with the
yes,
stretcher.
it was just so bad. It was just so bad, and so like,
oh no.
like obviously he had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And so after the game, like. The coach could
gosh.
see it in my face. Like I was just like so defeated because it was like
so bad.
my intentions were never to hurt
Of
player.
course.
And so he came up to me. He was like, "I know he's physically not here, but I can like for sure speak for him and just say it's okay. Like your intentions weren't there.
Yeah. Right.
Like don't feel bad about it. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Like just move on and just
That's
continue being that great player that you are. Like he was just giving me like that mercy and like that encouragement because oftentimes. If it was me, I'd be like, no, like I'm gonna get payback, kind of thing, you know. But for me,
where's that guy?
Right. But for me, it was just like, man, like
that gave you probably like a sense of relief.
A lot of relief, and like my heart was just like, man, it's okay.
Yeah,
like
it's okay.
It's okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's such a great example of I think what we feel when we can receive the mercy of God. Like we really feel that. I think if you genuinely really receive God's mercy for, just sometimes we need it like every day, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes there's like these big things that we're like, God, please I need your mercy right now, that it does give a sense of relief when you receive mercy, just as well, I think, when you give mercy. Right. It gives you a sense of like, it's kind of like forgiveness, like forgiveness is about the other person, yes, but it's more about you than anything, right? And I think mercy's kind of.
And I was gonna say, like, you'll just get a sense of peace.
Yeah.
That comes over you and just like, man, it's okay.
That's really true.
Because I like what you said. It's oftentimes when we give mercy to the next person or somebody's given mercy, it's not for that person. It's really for your heart.
Right.
For your heart to be freed from like any kind of like hurt, pain, or jealousy or whatever that your heart is holding. Yeah. It's like it's giving you that freedom that you need to move forward. Yeah, no, for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I was thinking of a time where I've experienced mercy from someone that I didn't deserve it, and I feel like I remember a lot of moments like as a kid with my parents. Like I was a pretty good kid, but I wasn't a perfect kid. Just like there is no perfect kid. Right. My kids are not perfect. I know I'm not perfect, but I did have these exchanges with my parents where, like, I know that I messed up. Or, like, my big thing when I was younger was, like, I would lie because I was a really big people pleaser. Not that I'm giving an excuse for lying. There's never an excuse for lying. Right. But there are reasons, right? Right. This was my reason. I was trying to please people.
It was all because of you. No. I would lie because I would say, like, okay, well, if I say the truth and I know it's going to be disappointing, I can't handle that. You know, like, I don't want to be disappointing. And so, there were a couple times, like, and obviously my parents know about this, but I would lie about dating Sergio, who I'm now married to we've been married for like 13 years this year. But, and that's a whole other story for another podcast. But I lied a couple times, like, straight to their faces about, like, being with him or not being with him. And they obviously, like, were disappointed when I would get caught. I know that they were disappointed, but, like, they always showed me mercy and forgiveness. Yeah. Like, they didn't, like, shun me. They didn't, like, stop loving me, or they like, and I'm sure they were upset, but, like, I never felt that their love for me ever lessened. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a time where they gave me mercy when I didn't deserve it. Many, many times. And I think God has that same heart. Yeah. Like, it's not going to change my love for you. And I think that his mercy is so incredible. And it is there for us to experience on a regular basis whenever we need it. And especially when we don't deserve it. Yeah. So so I want to share really just like recap of this story. And just for your reference, if you want to go read it, it's in John chapter 5, and it's like verse 1 through 14. Okay. So the background of this, And I'm not going to go as deep as my dad would go, because my dad's really good at that. He's like awesome at that, and I love to do that too. But
really good.
Basically, there's this guy, and he is he's paralyzed, and he's at this popular place where people who were sick, who were lame, who like had issues or diseases, they would go, because there was this pool. It was called Bethesda, and there was this would have been so insane and so cool to see.
If you think about now,
there was like an angel that would come at certain times, and all of a sudden would stir the water. So all of a sudden you'd see the water move. And I mean, I don't think you would see the actual angel. You would see the water being stirred. And if you got in, you would get healed.
Yeah.
But if you didn't get in time, you had to wait till the next time. The angel decided to show up, right?
Right.
And so this guy was there. It says he was there for 38 years. That he was waiting for 38 years.
That's a long time.
Dude, and when I read that, I was like, I'm 38 years old. Like, I can't imagine if I was like had this condition for 38 years and I was just waiting for this moment, to be able to get into this place to be healed. And so he was there, and he was waiting for his miracle, really, is what he was waiting for, his chance. And so it says that Jesus comes in and he sees the man, and they have this moment of exchange, and Jesus looks at him and he says, hey, do you want to get well? And his answer to him is, I want to read it exactly. I have it pulled up here. He says, when Jesus saw him and he knew he had been ill for a long time, he asked him, would you like to get well? Mm-hmm. And the Bible says that the man said, I can't, said the sick man, for I have no one to put me in the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone always gets ahead of me. Man. So I know you read the story because I told you to. And I know you prepare. When you read that, like, what stood out to you about that moment between him and Jesus?
Like, immediately, it reminded me of, like, for God's love and God's mercy, there's no competition.
Uh-huh, that's good.
Because that line he said, he's like, I'm always too late, or, like, I can't, like, I'm never one of the first ones.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, it's crazy because we tend to think, like, man, if you're not first, you're last, kind of thing. It's like, man, like, what if God's doors closes? Like, what if I can't, like, I'm not first?
What if I miss it?
What if I miss it?
Yeah.
And God's love is not like that. God's love is more of like, it's okay. Like, my hands are always open. Yeah. My mercy is always overflowing. Yeah. You don't have to compete with anybody else because you have your own spotlight.
That's right.
Like, my eyes are only focused on you and on you only. So you never have to worry, like, will I ever make it in time?
Right.
Do I have the necessary things to make it to the pool?
Yeah.
You already have what you need.
Yeah.
It's already sufficient. Just receive it.
Yeah. Because what I loved about this exchange is that, the Bible doesn't give us the context of if Jesus had this type of exchange with anybody else who was there. But we do know that other people were there because this was a popular place where people would go. And so what struck me in this moment was that in this crowd of people who were sick, who were lame, who were paralyzed, who had a very, very real reason to try to be there and get in that water, Jesus goes directly to, he singles out this man for whatever reason. So what that said to me is that, like, Jesus sees me. Yeah. Like, he sees me in the middle of a crowd. And so to me, that was like a big moment of, like, out of everybody, he saw this man and he just simply said, hey, do you want to get well? And Jesus didn't pass any judgment on him. Like, he didn't come to him and say, like, well, how long have you been here?
Right.
Like, well, why didn't you get one of your friends to come help you? Do you not want to be healed that bad? Because those were some of the things I thought of. Like, I thought, like, man, if that was me and I wanted to, like, be healed so bad, like, I would like, well, I guess I couldn't call a friend because there were no cell phones.
Right. Yell for help.
Somebody. But, like, I would try anything I could at all to get in there. You know what I mean? Like, but, and I like what you said too, though. Like, there was probably this very, like, atmosphere of competition there.
Yeah.
Because it was like, if you don't get in
at that time,
and it wasn't like an Olympic sized pool.
Right.
You know, it was smaller. It was more, from what I understand, it was more like a well. You know, it wasn't like this giant pool like that we would think of. You know,
Right.
let's all go swimming. You know, and so there was probably this sense of competition, like, I'm going to get in there before you, you know, and I'm not here to help you. I'm here to get myself
like every man for themselves.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, you know. But Jesus walks in and he sees him and he has mercy on him. Yeah. And he's like, it doesn't matter how long you've been here. I don't care how you got here. Like, none of that matters to me. Well, all that matters to me is, like, do you want to get well? You know, and I think I found his answer interesting, too, because he said... He said, I can't get well. Like, in other words, I think what he was saying was that I literally can't do this myself. Yeah. Because I'm paralyzed. I literally can't put myself in there. Mm-hmm. So I'm just sitting here. And imagine all the years of him just like, this is getting really sad, but like watching people just go in front of him and get healed. Like, and he's just sitting there watching one after the other, like, just get their moment. And he's just there. And maybe that's why Jesus went to him, because maybe he saw that. You know, I'm sure he did. But so when he tells Jesus, I don't have anybody to help me, to put me in the pool of water, it's kind of like what you said. Like, he was like, there's no competition for my mercy. He just tells him, stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. Yeah. And then it says, instantly the man was healed. And he rolled up his mat, and he started walking. And then there's this whole other part about it being the Sabbath and how, you know, Jesus wasn't supposed to be doing any of this kind of stuff on the Sabbath. But he didn't care because he had mercy. And his mercy, and that was that upside down moment, his mercy said, even though this isn't supposed to happen on the Sabbath because there's supposed to be no work, no nothing, no action, no nothing going on, that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that I have mercy on you and you receive the healing that you deserve and that you need. And I think, like, whoa, that's incredible to me, that he puts that all above all of those stipulations. He's like, it doesn't matter. You deserve your healing. What do you think about that?
I love when what you said about, or like what the Bible says about how when Jesus said, get up and do it. Yeah. Like, just get up. Yeah. It's like, that's the kind of like strength Jesus can just give you in moments of like despair, of like when you're like desperate. Yeah, so like true. When you go to him, God's going to give you that strength, that power that you need to keep moving forward. Yeah. And oftentimes I feel like it's a mentality kind of check where it's like, good. Like I can't do it, so I'm stuck in this place, or I'm like, I can't do it. Like you begin to like boo-hoo kind of thing. And oftentimes it's like, God's like, no, like these
pity parties.
Yeah, like these little pity parties. And Jesus is like, no. Dust yourself up. Yeah. Get up. And go do it. Why? Yeah. Because I have given you everything you need. Yeah. So get up and follow my command. Because when you follow my command, there's healing, there's mercy, there's strength, there's all these things that can come after you. But just do as I say. Yeah. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I think it also speaks to like the power of the words of Jesus that it can have over our situation. Right. You know, because if you think about like the like I said earlier, like the darkness of this guy's life and this guy's situation, like, you know, I mean, I don't want to go like too gross, but like if he was paralyzed and he was sitting there for years, like he wasn't living like in the best conditions. Correct. You know what I mean? Right. And so it's like there was this I think there was this desperation of wanting a change, but like that he couldn't do it on his own. And it shows the power that the words of Jesus have over our situations. Right. Because even though he'd been waiting for years, Jesus comes and in a moment, he says to him, you want to get better? Okay, get up, take your mat and walk. Yeah. And like it says immediately he was healed. And so to me, like he obviously acted on that. He heard the words of Jesus and he was like, guy says get up and walk. You know, and I can't imagine how he must have felt when he was like actually enabled to do that. Like he was actually able to get up and roll up his mat and walk off. You know? That's crazy. Like he must have been like, is this real life? Yeah. Is this really happening? You
I must be dreaming.
Yeah, and I think like it also reminds me of like how sometimes, like relating this to real life, like, maybe we're paralyzed in a certain way, like maybe not physically, but like maybe we have like something emotionally or spiritually or mentally or something that like is like an area that we might be paralyzed in, which means to me, like this man, it's something that he can't change on his own.
Right.
And he either needed a friend to be sitting there with him every moment of the day, and as soon as the pool turned, that friend would take him and dunk him in there.
Do something. Right. Do something.
Throw him in. 1,
Please.
2, 3. I got you. Or he needed a moment, a divine moment with Jesus, And I think that we're that same way. Like if you have an area that you're paralyzed in emotionally, spiritually, or mentally, like God gives us, number one, people around us that could help us. And this man didn't have anybody around him, but he needed, if he had somebody around him,
probably would have been,
maybe his healing he would have gotten it sooner.
Yeah.
But maybe that was something he couldn't control. We don't have all that context either, but all I'm trying to say is that like the waiting, it happened for a reason, first of all, and then the moment that his healing came, I think that moment happened for a reason also.
Right.
And maybe in his waiting, there was some things that just, I don't know, that happened in him or what, we don't really know. But I think that in real life, if we have issues, we don't need to be afraid to reach out to people around us that could maybe help us to get out of that rut, to help us, like you were saying, change that mentality or switch that mindset or get us out. But if we don't reach out, whether it be to others or to Jesus, then we're going to stay in that spot.
Right.
And we're going to be paralyzed.
I feel like in those moments, honestly, like when you're feeling like stuck, like you have to like have like an inward check and press into Jesus even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's when he's going to manifest and show himself and reveal himself like, I do exist. You come to me and I'm going to give you what you need.
Yeah.
And like even in those moments that you're stuck, be patient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because oftentimes like I feel like we're stuck, but it's like we're stuck for like a minute and we're like, this has been an hour, and it's like you haven't like really like endured that season, and maybe like there's purpose in that season that Jesus is like, I want you to be stuck because maybe you're not ready yet.
Or maybe you're not desperate enough.
You're not desperate enough. Maybe you're not ready yet. Maybe like maybe you're just, if I give you what you're waiting for, if I give you that season that you're waiting for, you're not going to be able to do what I want you to do with it. And like, and it's in those moments that God's like, hey, be confident. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Just be confident, be obedient. Yeah. And I'm going to see you through it. Like, I'm going to get you where you want to be. Yeah. But just be confident, have faith. Yeah. That's when your faith comes into play a lot.
That's so good. That's so good. And I think that, for me, a couple of big takeaways from this little part of the story is that Jesus, like I kind of mentioned it about it being the Sabbath, and there were, when this man was healed and he left, he went and he told people about it because he was excited, and then these religious leaders who heard about it or saw it, they were like, this is not okay because this is not supposed to happen on the Sabbath. Right. You're not supposed to be doing this, Jesus. Like, you're breaking the rules. You're not considering, the laws. You're not respecting the laws. And to me, that is like that really cool, like, upside down moment where Jesus literally says, like, what is more important here? To follow these rules and to go by all of these laws that have been set in place by man, or to meet this person where they're at in the moment that they need and give this man the freedom that he so desires for. And Jesus is like, I am not going to pass that up because this man is more important. And my mercy being extended to him is what I'm here for. I'm not here to say, I'm so sorry, it's the Sabbath, I'll come back tomorrow, you know?
Yeah, right.
Can you wait one more day?
Just 24 more hours.
Wait one more day?
24 more hours, right.
And so I think that is really cool, you know, that is super cool. But I do agree with what you were saying, that there are seasons of waiting for a reason. You know, there's seasons of waiting for a reason, and we can always grow through those seasons. And, you know, practical, everyday life, like, you know, if you're in a season of waiting, you know, maybe it has been 38 years. You know? I can tell you, I'm 38, and there are still areas in my life that I'm like, oh, like, okay, God, that's gotten better, but I feel like I'm not there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I imagine that goes on forever, because if you're a person who's growing in life, you should probably always have those areas where you're like, okay, cool, I'm doing good there. Okay,
but I need to
let
focus
me
on this
continue
area.
to grow over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least that's how I feel. You
No,
know?
for sure.
Maybe there's some of those
They
people
just-
who have arrived.
that are already at 10-10. 10 out of 10.
I'm 10 out of 10. I've arrived. I'm good.
the best player there is on earth. So come at me.
Be like me. Right? Yeah. You know, and so I think that there's always room, you know, to grow, and room for those things. But those seasons of waiting, like you said, are important to utilize and to grow. And because what I see here in this story too is that God's mercy is always present and is always there.
Yeah.
But sometimes there is a moment where you encounter it in a way that it just changes everything.
Right. It's like a switch.
Yeah.
Like a, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I just want to encourage all of us who are listening today and remind you that God's mercy is always present.
Yeah.
It's always available. Like Raul said, like, there's no competition for his mercy, for his love, for his grace, for all of those amazing things that Jesus gives us, that it is just there for us.
For sure.
And that when Jesus comes into the scene in your life, that he'll see you. He sees you, and he knows what you need. And he might ask you, do you want to get well? And if you say yes, or even if you say I can't, you know, Jesus sees your heart in that moment. And I believe he'll meet you where you're at. Do you want to say anything else?
No, for sure. The last thing I would say is just Jesus' character will always triumph.
That's good, yeah.
Always triumph. That. No matter your situation, no matter how you are physically, mentally, spiritually, wherever you're at, Jesus will always triumph no matter what you're going through. So it's like, always receive that mercy, because when you receive that mercy, when you receive what Jesus has in store for you, you will always come out victorious. Yeah, that's so good. Very good, very good. Awesome. Well, we hope this was encouraging to you today. Yeah. And we just hope that it bless you. And most of all, we just hope that, you know, it picks you up in your midweek, and share it with a friend, share it with a coworker, a family member. Our heart here at The Drop is just to encourage you guys, and to just help spread what Jesus is really all about. So we love you all, and come back next week, because Raul will be here again. For sure. And we'll see you guys next week at The Drop.